Honorable Chairman, Andhra Pradesh State Legislative Council, Honorable Speaker, Andhra Pradesh State Legislative Assembly, Honorable Members of the State Legislature, I am immensely pleased to welcome and congratulate the newly elected Honorable Members of the State Legislative Assembly and members of the Legislative Council to this joint session of the State Legislature being convened for the first time after the general elections 2024. I would like to take this opportunity to commend the Andhra people's active participation in the electoral process. Their inspiration for change has been unambiguous. Now the responsibility of fulfilling their aspirations lies with all of you. Honorable members, you are aware that due to the supreme sacrifice of Amarajeevi Potti Sriramulu, Andhra Pradesh was formed as the first linguistic state on 1st October 1953 with Kurnool as capital. Thereafter, the state was recognized on 1st November 1956 and Telugu-speaking parts of Hyderabad state were made into the combined Andhra Pradesh with Hyderabad as capital. Accordingly, a lot of Telugu people moved to Hyderabad. Again, in June 2014, the people of Andhra Pradesh were forced to undergo another reorganization of their state, the most damaging experience of all. The united Andhra Pradesh was bifurcated unscientifically, undemocratically, and without adequate consultation with the stakeholders. This has left an indelible mark on the minds of the people of the residual state of Andhra Pradesh. The turbulence caused due to multiple state reorganizations and the resultant disruptions have deprived Andhra people of a sustained long-period development and progress. Today we stand at a juncture where the people have to again take up the task of rebuilding their state. As time has progressed, it has become evident that the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act 2014 does not compensate enough the residual Andhra Pradesh for the loss of prosperity and development opportunities. The state bifurcation has imposed an unprecedented strain on the economy of the state. There are patent inconsistencies in distribution of assets and liabilities, with 58.32% of combined state population. The unscientific bifurcation caused the state to inherit only 46% of the resources, financial loss on account of loss of Hyderabad city, disproportionate debt burden, loss of access to public institutions, loss of national institutions, Government of India PSUs and institutions of higher learning, etc. One can see that scientific criteria for apportionment were not adopted, while the residual state inherited huge revenue deficit. Debt was shared on population basis, assets on location basis, power sharing on consumption basis, and worst of all, educational institutions with no basis. All these factors led to the structural change in economy with reduction of service sectors from 51% to 44%. The per capita income too fell from 1,06,176 for the combined state to rupees 93,121 for AP. Notwithstanding the adverse impact of the state bifurcation and undaunted by challenges such as budgetary constraints, revenue growth and debt and liabilities rose sharply. Financial management is manifested by diversion of funds, higher taxation despite high inflation, increase in power sector liabilities, neglect of capital expenditure which eventually resulted in slowing down of the economy. The enormous gap in resources was sought to be met repeatedly by borrowings through corporations and forcing them to spend on government expenditure and in the process weakening the corporations. In view of the inordinate delay in clearance of the bills due to strained financial position of the state, many vendors and contractors have approached the High Court of Andhra Pradesh for relief and filed cases against the government. About 25,000 cases have been filed for bill payments, which is unprecedented. The sheer number of contempt cases with personal appearances and arrest warrants against officials in several cases resulted in systematic humiliation and victimization of bureaucracy. This led to complete demoralization of administrative machinery. The capital expenditure reduced by 60% in 2019-24 compared to 2014-19. Departments such as water resources and transport, roads and buildings, which undertake substantial capital works, were left critically short of funds to carry out any works. The capital expenditure on water resources has reduced by 56% and that on roads and buildings by an alarming 85% during this period. The compound annual growth rate of state's own tax revenue slipped from 12.8% to 8.1% during this period. On the other hand, the revenue expenditure increased from 7.8% to 10.5%, whereas the capital expenditure growth declined steeply from 26.4% to 3.4%. Lower share of capital expenditure to public debt occurred during the period 2019 to 24 is a clear indicator that the government met revenue expenditure also through borrowed funds. The CAGR in per capita debt has been higher at 14%, while the CAGR in per capita income is only 9.7%. This reflects the fiscal profligacy of the previous regime as no capital formation took place. The Amaravati capital region, envisioned as the focal point of growth